Lyle Rapacki from Prescott eNews in Prescott, Arizona, reporting for Arizona Today. We have a very special guest, which you all have really grown to respect and enjoy, Senator Sonny Borrelli, who's the majority whip for the Arizona State Senate. Senator, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Lyle. Glad to be here. I'm in Phoenix, which is the state of Maricopa, or what I call the occupied territory.
You're not supposed to upstage the host, but thank you, Senator, for those of you around the nation. And we have everyone around this nation watching. We really do, from Maine to, I'll just name all 50 states. What the senator is referring to is Maricopa County, which houses Phoenix, Scottsdale, Glendale. Many of you know all of that area, and that's what he's referring to. And it's always a great thrill to have him on, but also what he's saying is rather true. Maricopa County is like the great state. They run everything they think. So that's what he's referring to for those of you out of the state of Maricopa and out of the state of Arizona. Ladies and gentlemen, the senator will be telling us some very sobering things that have happened today. And I'm so glad that he has taken time. It's been a very long day. It is now like 9:15 Arizona time. And he has been at the Senate all day. He got out of a Senate committee about 8 o'clock tonight, and he graciously has allowed me to spend some time with him and you to spend some time with him. And you're going to be rather informed, but also very sobered by what he has to say. So give us about another minute here, and then the senator is going to bring us up to date. I want to thank you, all of you, the hundreds and hundreds of letters that we're getting. They've swamped us. Keep them coming. Don't stop. But I just want you to know we are responding. We are getting books out. I'm completely out of books. I just ordered another 1,000. And hang in there, America. We're getting to them. There is no pat answer. There is no computer answers to your questions and to your statements. There's no 20,000 people responding. I'm reading every letter. I've had to bring in a couple of other people to help administrative assistance. We're reading everything. We're responding to you. And I know it's taking a little time, but your letters are phenomenal. On another show, I'm going to actually read some letters that refer to the senator and give him incredible credit, and rightly so, but also just some fun stuff about my cigars, about my maker's mark, about walking the beach, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you, America. Thank you so very much. Keep them coming. But please, thank you for your patience. We are getting back to you. It's just taking a little time, but we're overwhelmed in a very heartfelt way. Thank you, America. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Borrelli, as many of you know, he and I have been privileged to work with the Giuliani team for the last 12, 13 weeks. And the senator is a part of the leadership team of the Arizona State Senate. He's the majority whip. And he has been instrumental in continuing to move the Senate along to respond to the just outlandish behavior of the Board of Supervisors in Maricopa County. And so this evening, with some things that have just happened in the Arizona Senate, I asked if the senator could take some time and come on, and he graciously, again, a very, very long day for him, but he's come on, and I'd like him to share with y'all what has happened today in the Arizona Senate. So, Senator, thank you again. I know it's been a long day, but thank you. And would you please tell really America, and I know that sounds pretentious, and I don't mean to be, but it's America. We're all across this nation. People are watching Arizona Today. Would you please share what happened in the Arizona Senate today and what's taking place?
Sure. And, to kind of a recap, we subpoenaed the Maricopa County Supervisors for access to all the voting data, ballots, digital copies of the ballots, access to the voting machine, so that way we could do a full forensic audit. The supervisors decided to challenge us in court. That's been an ongoing battle. And then, of course, we thought we had an agreement with them. So goalpost. And of course, last Wednesday, we dropped a resolution, officially a resolution to hold them in contempt. We had all 16 Republican senators signed on to that. So actually we drop it in the hopper, it becomes public record. They see what's happening. And then Thursday, we voted to suspend the rules so that way we could just bypass committee. So we, speed up the process so we can expedite it. So the first thing we could do, the earliest we could do is put it up on the floor for a floor vote today. Now, Wednesday, we dropped it. Thursday, we passed, we voted to bypass the committee. And then, of course, that was right down party lines, 16 Republicans and 14 Democrats. Now, all 16 Republicans signed on to the resolution. And as soon as they found out what we were doing, the supervisors decided to run to court on Friday and file another complaint with the courts, and basically calling it 94 pages of documents that they called referring to our subpoena as a sham. So naturally, today we third read the bill. We put it up there for a full floor vote. Once again, we had 16 Republican senators sign on to this, all 16. And then at the last minute, unbeknownst to us, we thought everything was going great. But one senator decided to vote with the Democrats, and which ultimately killed the bill because the vote count was 15-15. And his reason was that he believes that we should give the county supervisors more time to negotiate with us, and because he believes that we're rushing this and we're going to haven't been negotiating in good faith, which is ironic because the supervisors they've been dealing in bad faith. They wanted they agreed to a forensic audit. Then they said, we want to have two separate companies do an audit, which is fair. That's smart. We agreed to that. Then they said, well, we have to be certified by the EAC. Well, the EAC only certifies companies that certify the machines, which means they're working properly. I'll break it down like this, real simple. You call your cable company up or whatever, and they set up your full entertainment system. So what they do is they hook up everything, they make sure everything is working, and they make sure that your remote control is working, and they certify your remote control is working. That's basically all they do. They just check to make sure that everything is working out right. Even the EAC says they do not certify companies to actually do full forensic audits. They don't do that. Once again, the county supervisors they've been negotiating in bad faith. They knew what they were doing. They would keep moving the goalposts. And of course, they're calling our subpoena, what we're trying to do is a sham, but they've been pulling the biggest sham on the citizens of Arizona. And when we call it the state of Maricopa, this is exactly what we're talking about. The state of Maricopa thinks that they have more power than the state legislature. And that's what's really troubling, because they are a political subdivision of the state legislature. And my arguments on the floor were this. What's next? You have a political subdivision like the county challenging the state legislature, right? And that's what's next. A city council, a school board, a fire district, an HOA. What's the point of us even being there, even drafting law and doing legislation, making law, when we're basically acknowledging we're allowing the supervisors to walk all over us? And this is something that shouldn't be a partisan issue. This is literally our sovereign authority of the state legislature is being challenged by a political subdivision. And unfortunately, we had one member who gave his word that he would vote for it on the floor. He signed onto the resolution. Well, he went back on that word, and he voted with the Democrats to basically undermine yourselves. Because what's the point of passing laws if you're basically telling, hey, counties, you don't have to pay attention to what the legislature does. Hey, cities, same thing. You don't have to do anything what they say to do. It's exactly what's happened today. They undermine themselves. They undermine all of us. That one member betrayed us. And that's just something that we're going to have to deal with on another level. But it's appalling. It's a sad day for Arizona. We'll get by this. We're strong. We have the Arizona way. We're going to get things done. But all we have here is our honor. And when some people tell you one thing and they do something else, they have no honor. They're not even he's not even honoring his. None of them are honoring their oath of office. If they voted no, they're not even standing up for the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, the state Constitution, even the laws of Arizona. The law is pretty specific. We have that plenary authority over elections. We are not subservient to the executive branch or the judicial branch. This is our sole and separate issue. We are entitled to this information. This is because you're just doing this to try to overturn the election. No, we set the record straight on that. We are having a Senate hearing to do a Senate investigation for election integrity. Now, where that goes is another thing, because we have to, like you say in law enforcement, follow the evidence.
Right.
So what we're trying to do is expose what was wrong with the election, if there was anything wrong with the election. So this way we can fix it legislatively, prospectively. If we find out that the whole election is a complete sham, that's something else that goes to a court, and that's another issue. That's somebody else to deal with. But you
Now,
know,
like-
what we have, there's also a crime scene, because
Right.
well, you know, later on I'm finding out, because statute states this: as soon as the election is canvassed and certified, all the election materials are supposed to be turned over to the county supervisors for safekeeping. Everything's supposed to be sealed. It's supposed to go in their vault, and the county treasurer is supposed to sign for that because he's the custodian. You follow? The outgoing treasurer never signed for it because he's the outgoing treasurer. Well, the county supervisors never turned it over to the treasurer. Why? Because they said there's ongoing litigation. Well, the new treasurer hasn't taken custody of it either, because they're saying we need to hold on to this because of ongoing litigation or an audit. Well, that's the purpose and the reason why you seal it in the first place, to preserve the evidence, to preserve it so that way it's sealed. If there is something that needs to be done through an audit or litigation, that's when you bring it out and it get unsealed, and that's what happens. But guess what? The county supervisors have the control of this. They've never even turned it over to the treasurer. And by the way, that's a violation of the election procedural manual, and that's a class 2 misdemeanor. Now, is it a class 2 misdemeanor on 2.2 million votes? Is that 2.2 million counts? Or is that 1,800 boxes of sealed ballots? I mean, is it 18 counts of a class 2 misdemeanor? This is something that needs to be looked at. And I think the Attorney General's office needs to look at this, because it's basically a crime scene now. We know it is.
What we've talked about before, Senator, and again, because you and I have been privileged to be a part of, you were on the actual panel of the joint legislative hearing. I coordinated that day and the weeks before, as you know, and since that time, we've worked with the Giuliani team for the last 12 weeks. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you and I have said this in the past on Arizona Today, and in various presentations you've made and I've made. There is prima facie evidence, more than prima facie evidence, suggesting irregularities. Now, we have both said, and it's on record, that if we're wrong or if there's an error, we'll correct it. It will be corrected. But let's get to the bottom of this. If there is no error, and what we have said that there's prima facie, based on the evidence you and I know and has been brought forward, then there are some very serious problems here, which could go up to and include the decertification of the electors. But because no one really knows yet, why don't we take a look in a most sincere, professional, forensic manner? And that's what the supervisors are fighting. Is my statement correct?
Well, you know, to decertify or pull back the electors, that's another issue.
Right.
But what our primary focus is on is, like I said, this is an investigation for voter integrity, election integrity, not voter integrity,
Right.
election integrity. We have to make sure that our system is clean, that there was no internet connection, that there were no counterfeit ballots, all that kind of stuff. You know, mail-in ballots, if they're fraudulent mail-in ballots, we need to find out what the weak points in the whole process is. So this way we can tighten that up with legislation, find out where the weak points are, going prospectively that way. Now, and one of the key things was, speaking with Rudy Giuliani, was all we want is the truth. The truth
Right.
has no agenda.
Correct.
The truth, that's how it starts out with. Because I'm like, look,
That's
you know,
correct.
we're just trying to flip something, you know, we have to focus on where the evidence takes us. And that's all he ever said, and that's all he ever wanted.
That's
And I
correct.
agree with that. That's why the Senate, the joint hearing that we had downtown Phoenix, which was actually started the big fire, because it was actually turned out better because we had bigger exposure to that. If we would have had to do that at the state capitol, we would have, because of COVID restrictions, we would have had to do it via Zoom. Like, unfortunately, like we had to do for the Senate hearing, that was all done via Zoom. And in that hearing, one of the county election officials said, and when I asked him, is there any chance that these machines were hooked up to the internet? He flat out said, no. I said, well, okay, how do we know that for sure? Well, we have security cameras and we just know it's not hooked up to the internet. Okay, you have security cameras in there and you said the Dominion vendor, they have full access to the building. Yes. Oh, they got key cards. Oh, okay, they got key cards. Well, I also know that one of the county supervisors said that they were even provided an office space in the county building.
Correct.
So the county, the taxpayers, gave the vendor office space to work out of, and they had full access to come and go out of the tabulation center. And I asked him, were any cameras in the offices of their offices? And he said, no.
No.
Well, how do we know that they were not, their laptop was not hooked up to the internet, that they were using those thumb drives to upload and change a vote count? Well, that didn't happen because we have a chain of custody, but you don't know that for sure because you had no cameras in their office space. Yeah, well, that wasn't necessary. I said, well, here's the problem when you say it wasn't hooked up to the internet. Okay, they have their laptop in there. Well, I'm on my laptop right now in the condo that I rent here in Phoenix. And guess what? It's hooked to the internet via Wi-Fi. Now we know that there is Wi-Fi access in the tabulation center right now. And it was happening back then.
Correct.
So what they said was a complete lie. Not only that, even in the contract for Dominion, it requires a Wi-Fi internet hookup. So how can they say one thing, but they're not being truthful? They called us liars. Well, you know what? They're lying. They said that we don't have the rights to any of this, and yet we do. They said that their certified auditors are going to audit the machines, and that's a full forensic audit. It's not a full forensic audit.
No.
They can call it a full forensic audit,
But it's not.
but it's not a full forensic audit. A full forensic audit is examining the ballots, the digital copies, to compare, making sure that the Dominion system, that it is done right, that it wasn't hooked up to the internet, but all that, a whole bunch of stuff. So, and there's no folks, there's no company out there that's certified to do a forensic audit. So that's the other sham that the county supervisors are perpetrating. And that's wrong.
It's almost like a rancher has been told that his hen house has been invaded. He doesn't know, but he needs to look at it. What he does know is that some hens are missing. And so the fox comes forward and says, hey, I'll tell you what, I'll guard the hen house and let you know. That's how I'm interpreting it. I'm not as educated as you, Senator, but as a people, that's what it looks like to the most of us out here, is that we've got hens missing. We're not really sure how or why they're missing, but there does now appear to be growing evidence that they're missing. And then the fox comes and says, I'll stand guard. And we know that doesn't work very well. If it's okay with you, Senator, I'd like to shift with the time we have left. The senator, your colleague, and again, I'm not a senator, I'm a people here, but I'll try to be somewhat polite, but I have to tell you, I'm pretty darn annoyed. And I think once people across America find out what your colleague has done, all hell's going to break loose, because he gave his word and he went back on it. You don't do that, at least in my day, working with elected officials for the last 12 years. You don't do that. You give your word, it's your pledge. I know you grew up that way as a Marine. You give your word, you shake or you salute. That's your word, that's your bond. And your colleague went back on it. And in doing so, he did a very dangerous thing here, because he has not lived up to his oath. He has not lived up to protecting the people. And that's something you're going to have to deal with. But let me ask you, where do we go from here? This senator did a 180, and it has created already in just the last hours. And by the time this show gets out across the nation, and probably in the next 24 hours, there's going to be a formal recall done on him by his district. I know you're not going to speak on that. I'm not asking you to. I'm just informing people. People are fed up. They're fed up with people in office who are not going to serve. This senator here has taken a lot of heat. He's not going to tell you that. I will, because I'm a people. This senator is going to be quiet. He'll probably get grumpy at me later, folks. But this senator right here has taken a lot of heat, because he has seen enough problems that he is saying, hey, folks, as senators, as elected officials, we need to step up and get to the bottom of this, just like he said earlier. And now we have a colleague of his who agreed on one sense and then did a complete 180 and has now screwed this whole thing. By the time this information gets out across Arizona, and it's going very fast, and across the nation, there's going to be hell to pay. Senator, is there something you could share without getting yourself in trouble?
Well, sure. Well, everybody has everybody's entitled to change their mind. That happens a lot. Hey, I'll vote for your bill, and at the last minute you kind of go, you know what, I really don't like your bill. There's something in it I don't like, I want fixed or whatever. And you know what, I'm sorry, but you can't count on my vote this time. I know I told you I would vote for it before, but now I've changed my mind. You have that right to do so. And we don't begrudge anybody for changing their mind. They have a legitimate reason. But what was the most appalling thing about this whole thing is when we gaveled this afternoon, I was convinced we had all 16. This senator gave no heads up, told nobody anything, didn't even give the president of the Senate the courtesy, the common courtesy to say, hey, look, Prez, I'm sorry, I don't put this bill up. I really don't want to vote on it today. We need to talk a little bit more, that kind of thing. That's called professional courtesy.
Correct.
He didn't do that for the president of the Senate. I wish you'd have told me because I'm the whip. When we came in, I was convinced I'm the whip. I'm supposed to get the votes. He made no inkling, no hint, nothing about what his intentions were. And as soon as the board went lit up to start voting, he was the first one to get up and speak and say why he's not voting. And we were complete shock. Yes, it's true. His legislative district is on fire right now. They're very upset with him. And, I don't weigh into anybody else's legislative district. This way they stay out of mine, I stay out of theirs. But, he's going to have to answer to his constituents and his legislative district chair. So,
and Senator, I applaud and I respect, and I've talked to you on the phone about this. I'm now letting you people know everywhere across America that I shared with the senator that this gentleman here is a man of honor and integrity, Senator Borelli, and he was not going to, when we talked on the phone about coming on tonight, it's a very late night here and he's been up for 18 hours. He is not going to discuss that senator, his colleague. He doesn't do that. I've known him 10 years. He doesn't do that. I will. Senator Boyers, I got news for you. Son, and I'm older than you, Senator, not you, Senator Borelli, but your colleague. Your legislative district is fed up with you. And today, 40 or 42 members already contacted somebody who's coordinating, and they'll be on tomorrow's show, coordinating the recall of the Maricopa County Supervisors. And her name is Shelby Bush, and Shelby will be on Arizona today. She was going to be on tonight, and because of this breaking news, the senator graciously agreed to stay up to do this. Ladies and gentlemen across America, Senator Boyers has gone back on his word. And just like this senator said, he did not let anybody know that he had any qualms whatsoever. In fact, he did just the opposite. He said, I'm supporting this. And then at the last minute, without any notification, without any courtesy, went back on it. That's wrong. That's not genuine. That's not integrous, in my opinion. And in the opinion of already 42 members of his legislative district who have already come out publicly and said they're going to start the recall tomorrow morning. And this is going to pick up steam. People are fed up across this nation with elected officials who do not stand up for the Constitution and fight like this senator right here has at great peril. This senator, he won't talk to you about it, but I will because I'm a people. And he gets grumpy at me, but this senator is taking it in the shorts because he has stood up to do the right thing, not the politically correct thing. That's a big difference, ladies and gentlemen, and you know it. I'm reading your hundreds and hundreds per day of letters, and people are fed up across this nation with this sort of crap. And they're applauding you, Senator, and I know you have not read any of the letters. I'm looking at them over there. You haven't read them. You don't know what I'm talking about, but we've saved them for you and Senator Fan, who's the president of the Arizona Senate. Dozens of letters, dozens are coming in with your names and Senator Fan's name saying, thank you for standing up for us. Thank you for standing up for the rule of law. Thank you for standing up for integrity. I've got the letters. The administrative assistants have got the letters. We have them for you and the Senator, President Fan. You can see them for yourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for writing and supporting a gentleman like this. But Senator Boyers, I've got news for you, son, and I'm older than you. watch your six, because people are coming after you to get you out. You're not serving the people of Arizona. Senator, any final closing thoughts?
Yes, I would like to go on the record on this. Right after the vote count, people, obviously social media started lighting up, and they put his home address and his phone number on, personal phone number on there. I think they even put his wife's cell phone on there, that kind of stuff. That is uncalled for.
No.
That is totally uncalled for. We hate it when the left does it, and we shouldn't be doing it to anybody else. Families off limits.
Correct.
You don't like what I'm doing? You know
Correct.
what? Flood my email, flood my assistant. She gets upset. She takes the phone calls, flood my email, send me emails to my work, my send letters to my work. You can, call my office and complain. That's great. But families are off limits. Not only that, folks, it is a crime. So people need to stop that. We need to be growing up about it. Not only that, but you make the person a martyr. You make the person a martyr.
Right.
But I also want to get on this. The county supervisors last week, they called our subpoenas a sham. And then they said that we had no right to the physical ballots, and we actually had to go to court for that. Well, the statute doesn't say that for us, because we have standing. For example, if a state party wanted access to all that, so they have to go to court. They have to prove to the good judge that they have standing and they have cause. We don't need that. We have plenary authority. We delegate authorities for elections to the county level, but we do not delegate the overall responsibility. That falls on us. So we don't have to go to a court order. But that's what they were hanging their hat on. And of course, then this morning, when they found out we were going to be voting on this resolution today, they went and filed a temporary restraining order with the court to tell the court to stop us from voting. How ludicrous is that? The court has no jurisdiction on us voting on whatever we want. This is crazy. And what's really sad is the taxpayers of Maricopa County are paying for these attorneys. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just a knuckle dragging jarhead with a GED, but I know how to read, and I know how to read the law. And if I don't know how to read the law or interpret the law, I'll go and talk to some of our lawyers. What's crazy about this is our own lawyers that advises us, and even other outside attorneys advising us, that senators still didn't want to believe our attorneys, wanted to believe this county supervisor's attorneys, which is crazy, because this person is a very capable person. He was an intern or a staffer in the House of Representatives or in the Senate, I can't remember, before he became an elected official years ago. So he knows the law. Anyway, I'm going on a rant, but this should have never happened. This person should have had the honor and courage to at least go up to the president and Senate, or me, or the majority leader, and say, "Hey, wait a minute, let's postpone this for one day. There's still some questions I have, this kind of things. I have my doubts. I need to clarify that." He didn't do that. He didn't even show that common courtesy. That's appalling, and that's what ticks everybody off. Because unfortunately, why does anybody want to pass any of his bills? He's writing legislation to make law, but he's not even backing up the law. He's not even whatever. He's not even backing up the legislature, our position. So he's going to have to. It's his tree. He's got to sit in it. So.
Well, Senator, thank you. It's been a very long day for you, and tomorrow morning it starts all over again.
But where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? It's not over, because another resolution can be introduced, because it's a resolution.
Right.
Another resolution can be introduced. It most likely probably go through the Judiciary Committee again. There is litigation. They took us to court, so we're gonna keep fighting in court. This is what the supervisors are trying to do. They're trying to run out the clock, because there's another election coming up this month, the end of this month or next month. Right. There's a couple city elections. They're trying to run out the clock. That's what they're trying to do. Run out the clock, so that way they think this is all going to go away. Folks, do not let this go away. And by the way, we had Senate Republicans standing up. This one guy, he's going to have to deal with his own conscience. But you know what? There's 14 Democrats that voted no. They undermine themselves. If you're a Democrat and you're in that district, or you're a Republican, doesn't matter what party you are. If you're in their legislative district, they voted to undermine themselves to even protect you from an out of control county, out of control city, out of control school board. Once again, it's ludicrous. When you really break it down that way, it's nuts. It's not about the election. This is about literally a political subdivision challenging the direct sovereign authority of the state legislature, your representation, because that's what it is. You vote us in there to be your representatives, and then you just undermine yourself.
Well,
Now,
Senator, thank
also, I'm
you.
sorry, but those 14 districts, they don't have any representation, which is sad.
Well, thank you. I'm going to cut you off because I know you got to get to bed because you got to get up early and start it all over again. Ladies and gentlemen, what the senator just said is absolutely true. This is not over. This is not over. This is far from over. This is a heck of a fight. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a heck of a fight. This senator has been leading it. There's been others who are leading it. Others are going to be on this show in the days to come. And you're going to hear bit by bit behind the curtain, which you deserve to hear. You deserve to hear what these guys are going through to enforce the rule of law and the integrity of our electoral system and to represent we the people, unlike some of their colleagues who are pusillanimous, wishy-washy, and in my opinion, have no business being in office at all. That's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you from across this nation for supporting us. Thank you for supporting what we're attempting to do and will do. It's taking longer than we wish. We're all getting grayer hair. I think the senator's got one or two, but we're all working in this thing. We're not giving it up. And I know a lot of legislatures are watching in a lot of states and a lot of Americans across this country because we're hearing from you all. Thank you very much. Senator Borelli, thank you. Keep fighting the good fight. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Prescott eNews in Prescott, Arizona, I'm Lyle Rapacki, and that's how I see Arizona today.